Right. Oh, thank you so much, Crystal. It's great to be part of Women in Denver. And actually, I think we were both getting started when we first met,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, oh my God, and when you said 2014, I'm like, God, time flies. So I'm really excited to be with all of you here today. And thank you for spending some time with me. I'm going to go through building $1 million companies. I jotted down some of your questions. I'm going to talk a little bit more about like the who and the what behind building $1 million companies, but I'll try and address some of your hows, like how to scale and how to hire. Definitely when we get to the Q&A, if not before. So just a couple like housekeeping things. We're going to do questions at the end and in breakouts. And if you want a copy of this presentation or cheat sheet, just email me real quick at jessica@tworld.com and I can respond with the PowerPoint and then also a cheat sheet that I'm going to mention a little bit later. So I want to start a little bit just with the truth. And my head's like, I'm using this new software thing. So I'm like trying to get my head out of there. There we go. So most companies don't ever reach $1 million. So depending on the state, 6% or less of all companies in the US achieve $1 million in sales each year. So it's a pretty low number. And then if you look at women-owned organizations, that percentage falls to roughly 2%. Again, depends on the state and it depends on the year. But so why do so few organizations achieve this plateau? I'm going to explain some reasons today why most businesses fail to achieve the success metric and how you can position yourself and your company to achieve the upper echelons of business ownership. So now I talked a little bit about, why I'm here, just about a brief background about who I am. So my name is Jessica Fialkovich. I'm the CEO and co-owner of Transworld Business Advisors, like Crystal mentioned, alongside my husband, which is Al. He's in this top left picture here. And we've been in business together for 13 years. We worked together for 12. We've been in numerous business together, I think 9 businesses total now. We share an office and most days we even drive to work together. It's a lot of togetherness, but it really does work well for us. My business brokerage office is the fastest growing and most successful business brokerage office in the US. We cover 5 states with 38 employees. We do an average of 100 transactions a year. And since we're talking about revenue today, I can tell you our firm is projected to do 7.7 million in annual revenue this year. I first got into this business after starting businesses in the wine and spirits industry. So this is my third $1 million revenue business. My first business was Decanted. That's kind of the bottom right next to my head picture. And that's my husband and my mother-in-law. And that was our first day in business with our wine business. And I sold that business in 2012 and got into business brokerage because of that. I'm originally a Jersey girl that moved to Colorado 13 years ago. And since then, I've lived in Aspen, Naples, Florida, and I now split time between Denver and Dallas. I'm actually in Dallas right now, avoiding the snow. I guess you could call me a snowbird now. But like any good Jersey girl, I'm a fan of Bruce Springsteen. So that one picture up there is the day I got to meet Bruce Springsteen. It was the best day of my life. Don't tell my husband. My second best day was our wedding. Um, so that's just a little bit about me. Let's get to some keys to success. So the first key to success in building $1 million company is mindset. And mindset is critical. And today it feels like a little played out as a key to success. But if you know me or follow me online, I'm an avid reader and I'm a learner. And what I find is that you can find all kinds of hows to scale a business, hire, things we've talked about before. But you really have to focus on your mindset of, really building this muscle of I'm going to fail and I'm going to try again. So one of my favorite quotes by Tony Robbins is the only reasons we don't have what we want in life are the reasons we create why we can't have them. Mindset's everything. So whatever you believe is possible is possible. Whatever you believe is impossible is impossible. A strong entrepreneur has to believe in the success of their company and themselves above all else. No matter the situations I've faced, and I faced a lot, layoffs down to our last literally $200 in our bank account, looking at shuttering businesses, I've always had this very strong belief that there's no better person to bet on than me. And another big thing of mine is I'm going to go through a lot of tactics in these presentations. I like to make tactics, the presentations tactical. So I'm going to give you some takeaways and some core disciplines, and this is some things we can discuss in our breakout rooms. So, what do I do to control my mindset and position myself to be $1 million business owner? So, one, I don't watch the news. So, a mentor of mine told me this years ago, and it literally changed my life. If you're in this everyday battle we call life, you have to have a positive attitude. And to have a positive attitude, you have to be surrounded by positivity and avoid negativity. And there's nothing more negative than the news. So I haven't watched the news in now 7 years. I always know what's happening. So some people are like, "Well, I'm worried I won't know what's happening." You can get a daily digest from an email or a subscription service like the Skim, or not. I mean, I don't, and still know what's going on every day because it's all people talk about. I do scan the websites sometime, but that's about it. Number two is have a morning routine. So starting your day off in a successful mindset is key. It's kind of like rolling a boulder downhill. So my favorite resource for developing morning routines is either the Miracle Morning or Tim Ferriss's podcasts. He always asks his interviewees what their morning routine is, or ask some of your friends and mentors. So mine, I do meditation in the morning. I do a visualization. I move my body every day. So 30 to 45-minute workout. I sit in the sauna for 15 minutes and then I do a cold plunge. So I jump into freezing cold water at 50 to 55 degrees for about 10 to 15 seconds. And then while I'm ready, I get my mind ready. So I listen to some type of business book. So that's when I develop my how skills, like what are my hiring strategies, things like that. I'll listen to an audible on what I'm focused on in the business. Right now, I'm focused on leadership development. It takes all about 2 to 2.5 hours, but that's the best time of my day because it's all mine. Tactic number three that I do, or my core discipline, is that I review my goals regularly. So I update my goals once a quarter and I do an in-depth planning session each year. And each week I reread my goal documents to see what needs to be tackled and if anything needs to be changed or updated. So I'm looking of like, what can I do today to move me closer to my goal? So I'm always like, I'm a big proponent of focusing on each individual step and not the overarching goal, but have an idea of what I'm shooting for or what the target is. Um, Focus on outcomes, not tasks. So focusing on tasks keeps me in the weeds, and outcomes allows me to think like, how can I get this done? Or even better, who can help me? So there was this book I read that was super powerful. It's called Who Not How. And it really changed my mindset of that I don't have to do everything and be an expert in everything. And that was instrumental in moving my business forward. So focusing on these outcomes really allows creativity to enter my work mode and expand the possibilities of how a goal can be achieved. Do something important or do something inspiring every morning. So find something that really inspires you or motivates you and incorporate it into your morning routine. I love pictures and music. It's just really motivating to me. So during my workout, I listen to a pump up mix full of positive lyric songs. There's actually, if you go on Spotify, you can find like positive playlists to keep that negativity out. And then I also have a slideshow going on my TV in front of me of things that I'm grateful for and things that I'm trying to achieve in my life. And then the last mindset discipline is gratitude. So to be a successful entrepreneur, you need to be, as Ross Perot says, be grateful for the progress that has been made, but simultaneously be dissatisfied with the rate at which it's being completed. So I've always found it's so much better to be grateful along the way and enjoy the ride. Otherwise, there's no point in all of this. Part of my journaling exercise every morning is to write down 3 things that happened in the last 24 hours and I'm grateful for. And like none of the BS, like I'm grateful for my life. I try to get very specific. Like I'm grateful for the woman at Starbucks that gave me and Sailor, who's my dog, a great big smile yesterday. It really made my day. It forces me to pay attention and be present more in my day-to-day life and really appreciate the things that are happening, especially in a year like 2020 or 2021, where you can't say things like, I'm grateful for my trip to Europe. You know, it's just, that didn't really happen for most people this year. Just be grateful for the little things. So the second key to success for building a large organization is network. So networking, and like you guys are doing right now, is a purposeful exercise that helps you create opportunities for yourself and your business, opportunities in sales, leadership growth, and personal development. Those are the three key networks that I have really found that it has helped me scale and grow my company super fast. So the first network you need is a sales network. You can't be successful without sales. And another key to success that I don't talk about in this is you have to be willing to sell and willing to sell yourself and your organization. Sales isn't a dirty word, but it is the most important business skill that each of us as entrepreneurs and business professionals have to have. So find a networking group that helps generate recurring sales. It could be a leads group, a referral partnership you put together yourself, or affiliate networks, or a number of different others. It's going to depend differently for each entrepreneur in each industry. The second network is leadership growth. So to build $1 million company, you have to be a leader. That means you have to develop your leadership skills and your persona in the marketplace. Multiple organizations offer leadership development, and there's some that you can find both locally and nationally as well. And then the last network that I've really relied on is personal development. So I'm a strong believer that an organization only grows as much as the leader does. You can only achieve personal growth and development through things like reading, podcasts, online courses, but nothing gives you the same impact as interacting with others and sharing your experience. Again, there's a number of different organizations, Women of Denver included, that are available for entrepreneurs that have personal development courses, but also groups and masterminds and people you can connect with one-on-one so you can share your experience and receive support in a safe environment. The third key to success for building a $1 million company is to ask. So you need to learn to ask for what you want. In every business, the next goal you want to accomplish has either been done by somebody else or someone else holds the key to your accomplishment. So it's back to that, who do I need, not how do I do it? One of my friends told me that life is too short to make all of the mistakes yourself. And I found this to be so true. So here are some of the things and ways I've asked for what I wanted in order to get my business to move forward. The first is experience. So mentorship is an amazing thing. Currently, I have three mentors that each serve a very different purpose in my life and business career. We also have an advisory board for our company that helps us oversee the company and evaluate our strategic moves. Advisory boards are simple to manage. They are paid positions, but not much. You're looking at maybe a couple $1,000s a year total, but they're priceless in the value that they give back to you and your company. And for mentors, I found that you have to give to get. So don't ever walk up to somebody and say, like, will you be my mentor? Instead, find a way you can serve them and give first, and then you can develop a relationship. And over time, that will become a mentorship or even a close friendship. The second thing you always have to be willing to ask for is the sale. So, and I just spoke about this, but your time and your experience are too valuable to give away for free. So your sales drives revenue, which is going to get you to that $1 million, because revenue is the lifeblood of a business. You have to make money in order to make money. So learning sales skills is probably the number one key to success. I tell everybody as a business person, entrepreneurship or not. Today, no matter what anyone tells you, money still makes the world go round. And I do see this as a big hurdle with women, that, sales is not a dirty word. It's a great skill to have. And if you're able to sell yourself and your company, you can get almost any organization to whatever level of revenue you want. Some other keys, like, don't let people pick your brain. Have them pay you for a consultation. Your expertise is worth something. And one little pet peeve of mine is, if you're not willing to let people pick your brain, don't ask others to pick their brains too. So what goes around comes around. If you want people to pay you, be willing to pay them too for their expertise. And the last thing I'm always never afraid to ask for is help. If you have an idea you want to execute, or you need to get connected to somebody you don't know, you leverage that network that you just created and you ask for help. You ask for that who that I was talking about. It's kind of like Kevin Bacon's 6 degrees of separation. It's so true. There's always somebody that can help you solve your problem. So the fourth key to success, and there's 5, I don't think I said that, but we're going to go through 5 total. So the fourth key is money management. So not some super soft skill, but to be successful at business and building large organizations, you have to be skillful in dealing with money. And when I'm talking about money, I'm talking about business financials. So first is understanding cash flow. Cash flow is managing the money that's flowing in and out of your business. So it's not just good enough to understand your profit and loss and your balance sheet, which you should also know, but you have to understand your cash flow statement as well. This tells you how much cash you have on hand and what type of cash reserves you need for the future. A great resource is Keith Cunningham. He's an Austin-based business coach who explains this concept better than anyone I've ever seen. You can look him up on YouTube, and he's written a couple books on the topic too. The second money skill is working capital. So to build a company, you need funds outside your personal capital sometimes, and this can be done three different ways. You can have your customers fund your capital, you can borrow or have debt funded, or you can have investor funded. And the best type of capital is customer funded because your customers are telling you that they want your product or service. So using customer dollars to fund the growth of your business also reduces your risk. You don't have debt and you don't have investors. The second best is debt funding. So debt is something that scares most people, especially most women entrepreneurs, but it shouldn't be scary. I mean, worst case scenario, you're paying back a loan after a business fails, but you took a chance and it's a good one because you bet on yourself. Keys to debt is to start small, utilize both banks and non-bank lenders, and establish a long-term relationship that you can grow over time. And one thing, and this is really actually something that people are talking a lot about now, if someone offers you money, like a bank or the SBA in the form of PPP, don't ever say no. Take the money as long as it's reasonable in terms. There's a popular saying that people offer you money when you don't need it, and when you do need money, they're not there. So if someone like a banker or the SBA in the form of PPP is offering money, then take it. As an entrepreneur, I've rarely taken investor capital. And when I did, I structured it as debt because selling equity is always the most expensive way to finance your business. The last money skill, and this is something that was a huge learning lesson for myself and a lot of business owners in this last year, is savings. It's a great life lesson. You should always have a buffer. One of my mentors told me that I should always have at least 3 months of operating expenses and savings in business. And I used to say, well, it's great because then if I have a blip for a month or a quarter, we can sustain the blip. What I now know now is I'm actually shooting for 6 months because now I know that an economy can get shut down for a whole quarter. I don't think any of us predicted that before 2020. And this is something I accomplished this by just taking 10% of each deal we close or 10% of our monthly revenue, and I put it into a savings account until I hit that buffer. So it's not, waiting for some big deal to close or big client to come in. I'm taking a little bit at a time. The last and final key to success in building large companies is execution. So I find that ideas are a dime a dozen. And in the typical day as entrepreneurs, we can come up with 5 to 10 new business ideas or 20 new marketing ideas. But ideas are totally worthless without execution and discipline. So you have to really decide what are the ideas and opportunities to say yes to, but more importantly, which do you need to say no to? And then the ones you say yes to, chase with fanatical execution and discipline. So one of my other favorite quotes is, entrepreneurs are the only people in the world that are willing to work 80 hours per week for themselves just to avoid working 40 hours per week for someone else. So how do I design execution habits? First, plan each day. So in those 80 hours I'm going to work in a week, I'm going to plan each day. I'm going to set, after I review my goals, I'm going to go into identifying my 1 to 3 most important outcomes. What do I need to get done today? Just 3 things in order to move me and my business towards those goals. I pull this from a weekly list of tasks that tie directly to those quarterly goals. And I typically do mine first thing in the morning because I'm a morning person, but you should do them whenever you have them the most focus. It doesn't have to be perfect though. I mean, sometimes like this week, I accomplished some of my most important outcomes in between meetings on Zoom, did one in my car, and then I accomplished one going for a walk with my husband. So it doesn't always have to be you're sitting and staring at your computer screen and doing something. And that's why I call them outcomes rather than tasks, right? So what do I actually need to happen this week? Not what do I need to do? The second discipline habit I have for execution is using a system. So a business is a very complex living, breathing organization, and they are hard to build and manage. But the good thing is you don't have to figure it out yourself. Shockingly, a lot of people have built businesses before us. So going back to using that experience of others and use some of the business management systems that are already out there. There are systems that actually coach you on how to build and grow a business. Some of my favorites are EOS, which stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System. It's based on a book called Traction. The second is Scaling Up. It's based on a book written by Vern Harnish. And then the third is the E-Myth Method. That's written by Michael Gerber. My third habit for execution is discipline. So entrepreneurs are crazy. Like, we work a lot. And legitimately, every entrepreneur I know is just a little weird in their own way. But most of us have a strong rebel streak. So the real key to success in this whole thing is learning how to control that rebel streak through discipline. Some ways I've done this is through the goal planning that we've talked about already, following the business management system, and having a schedule of reporting and meeting cadences that hold me accountable to other people. It's also worth learning that, to get to the top as an entrepreneur and to build a big company, it requires some personal commitments and almost training like a professional athlete would. This is a lot of work. Like I said, entrepreneurs work 80 hours a week just to avoid a 40-hour-a-week job. So some non-negotiables I've heard from the best in the world that I've implemented in my life and made a world of difference for me. And I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about them. They're not popular. They're not the ones that people really want to do. But it works. So getting up early, like 5 a.m. early. I read a lot. I read at least 50 books a year. That's where I get a lot of those hows, right? I don't watch TV, not just the news, but any TV. It also saves you a good chunk of money at home. If you think about it, cable's pretty expensive. I take care of my body. I work out every day because working out is as much as a mental boost as it is a physical one. I eat healthy, nutritious meals and drink lots of water. And I take a lot of time to myself. So this is something Bill Gates does. He does two 1-week solo trips a year. And how it looks in my life is I do one long weekend per quarter. So I'm able to take some time, read a lot, and just think about how I'm going to build and grow the business. Don't do alcohol. So I don't drink alcohol or drugs. I was in the wine business, that's true, but I really don't drink anymore. My husband's actually on 18 months without a single drop of alcohol straight. It's also not popular, but it's a huge money saver and it makes you wake up fresh every single morning. And like I said, building a large organization, it's like a marathon. It's like you're training as a world-class athlete. So as you can see, this journey is not super simple. The keys to success are simple, but they're not easy to execute. And if you implement some of these practices into your life and business, you'll be more satisfied in your life, whether you hit $1 million in sales or not. So I'll leave you with this, and then we can jump into the breakouts and some questions, and I can answer some more tactical things too. But I call it the unpopular $1 million challenge. So first you give up TV and you read instead. That's when you focus on the learning and the business. You rise before 6 a.m. I don't say 5 a.m. because 5 a.m. is hard for some people, especially if you work late. You establish a consistent morning routine that includes moving your body every day for at least 30 minutes. Eliminate sugar and alcohol, and then create 3 most important outcomes for yourself that are tied directly to your business goals and complete them by noon every single morning. So I'll leave you with this last thing that we started and we talked about that not everybody can hit $1 million in sales. It's really difficult to do. And if we're looking at women-owned businesses, it's less than 2%. But what I will say is there's never been a better time to build a business or grow a business. There's a ton of opportunity out there and it's not just about you. So this is a stat from it's called NABO. It's National Association of Women Business Owners. But women-owned businesses, there's 11.5 million businesses owned by women in the US. They generate 1.7 trillion a year and they employ 9 million people. So to give you an idea, I think small businesses account for about 96% of Colorado's economy, and about 55% of those small businesses are owned by women. So that's as much of an economic impact that we have as business owners. And it's our responsibility and our opportunity to grow our organizations to support others in terms of jobs and customers and things like that. So I hope that was super helpful. I'm ready to jump in and have more discussions and answer any questions that I can help with, along with my journey as well. So thank you so much for your time and look forward to connecting more in our breakout rooms.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica.